Live from the basement car park at Area 51 and broadcast worldwide in association with leading radio stations via the internet. It's the Elegant Universe. Your hosts, abducted from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Peter Gagliardi and Shane Hill. Welcome to another thrill-packed, brain-melting edition of the Elegant Universe. This week, no Frankie. We do not have a conspiracy theory. However, we do have the beautiful Susie J.
Good afternoon. Did you miss me last week?
Oh,
Yes,
we
we did.
certainly
We
did.
I missed
a
all
lot.
of you.
Yeah.
Today I've brought, I'm going to tell you about a Wall Street millionaire, a lady who's been in a coma and forgotten everything.
Wow.
And I've got
I wish
some-
my wife would do that. Anyway, to getting her into a coma, though, that might be the hard. Anyway.
And, I've got some great questions for our
Cool.
guests.
Excellent.
Cool.
We also have the beautiful Hayley.
Hi guys.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you.
How's your week been?
Hectic, busy, crazy.
Hectic? Lots
Yeah.
of horoscopes for us today.
Well, there should be if the stars give me everything I need.
Yes, and they usually do.
They usually do.
And they're not the only ones. And your host with the most, Peter.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Well, as you know, last week
Yeah.
I played a lot of Batman. I did
Oh, yeah, we heard.
did like
Yeah, we heard.
3-day marathon
Yeah.
non-stop
Yes.
of Batman. Well, this week I decided to go to Skyrim and save the world
Yeah.
from dragons. So
Yeah.
this week
Yeah.
I'm all about dragons.
So life's busy
He
then?
rang
Yeah,
me
it's
3
full on.
times and he's like, what do I do now?
Yeah. How many? You got to save the world. You got to save the world. Everything else has to stop.
Everything
Priority.
has to stop. Okay, today is a very special show for me. As you know, over the last couple of months, we've had almost every week, save one or two, we've had a comedian on the
Yes.
show. Now, as you know, my thing is magic, mentalism, hypnosis, that
Yes.
kind of thing. So, at great expense to myself and after a lot of negotiation, a lot of hard work, I have finally got to come on the show 2 of Melbourne's top magicians. Prestidigitators, guys
Oh,
who
yeah.
do what I do. So for me, this is a little bit special. I'm kicking everyone out of the studio later, and I'm doing the interview this week after
Okay.
you girls have done the intros with them and all.
Well, these two guys aren't just normal guys either. They run a pretty prestigious
They run
magic room in Melbourne.
The biggest and best
Yeah.
magic room in Melbourne, Top Hat Tuesdays. I've
That's
performed
right.
there a couple of times. It's one of those things where you know where you've reached a certain level
Yeah.
of success when you get to perform at certain places,
Yeah.
and Top Hat Tuesdays is one of those
Oh,
places.
yeah.
So a little bit later on the show, with great pleasure, I'm going to introduce you to Baden Hammond and Dom Chambers are going to be on the show, 2 of Melbourne's top magicians. We'll be back after this. The same brilliant writing team that brought you Massage Parlour Murders and Topless Motorcycle Nuns from Beyond Dimension X. It's the Elegant Universe. Welcome back. I believe we've got a horoscope.
Rushing for the papers every day to find out what the stars have got to say about the fortunes that are on the way. It's crazy, crazy, working on waiting that forever will hold. Success comes from what we do not know.
We do. Okay, so Aquarius. This week an asteroid will land on your house. It's not so cool when it happens to you.
Okay, what have you got for us, Susie?
Okay, well, have you ever had hard breakups? Not as in, like, just breakups where it just got messy
Oh,
and
yeah.
you couldn't get rid of the
Yeah.
girl?
Oh.
Or the guy?
Oh, you're
Oh,
talking like
yeah.
Scott Pilgrim style, where they just obsess.
And you have to kill all the
yeah,
exes.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay, so a Wall Street millionaire, 50-year-old equity investor Brad Zipper
Yeah.
had to get a restraining order against
Hang on, his name's Brad Zipper.
Yeah, exactly.
That,
It
that was
doesn't
my
sound
next
real.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to get a restraining order against his ex-girlfriend
Mm.
of 28 years old
Yeah.
because every time he tried to break up with her, they'd end up sleeping together. So he could never break up with her, so he took her
That
to
old
court
story.
to get a restraining
That old
order.
story, like it's super
Wait a minute,
common.
see if I got this right. He's going to court because he's getting too much sex.
Well, because he's trying to break up with her and she always
why is he
persuades
keep-
him into bed.
yeah,
Well,
here's,
here's the thing. I see the logic. Take her to court because as if they're going to slam in the courtroom. You know, he's like, I am breaking up with you.
you,
And the
yeah.
judge is like,
Yeah, no,
behave
no,
yourselves,
no.
behave
It'll be-
yourselves.
The court
I
will be
saw-
over. They'll walk out and he'll go, I'm so sorry. And she go, you can make it up to me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And it'll be on again.
Yeah.
I saw a really similar thing on TV. It was like strange 911 calls.
Right.
And so what happened was 911 eventually got a call from a man who'd gone to his wife's house to give her the divorce papers. Like,
Right.
sign these, please.
Yep.
And she'd set up the house with candles
Oh,
and
no.
came out in the costume. Of course, took him to bed. He wakes up the next morning handcuffed, not to the bed, but to her.
Oh,
She's handcuffed him to herself so that he can't leave her.
Yeah, she
And
must
when-
have really liked him a lot.
Yeah,
lot.
and then when he wakes up in the morning and calls the cops, she starts bashing him up. And so she's like
attacked
strangling
me.
him and stuff, and he can't get away from her at the same time as trying to talk to the cops on the phone and not die and not really bash her too much. And
Now,
Yeah.
you see, you're looking at it all wrong. That's a
Okay.
devoted woman right
Yeah.
there.
that is
Yeah.
That's the
real
woman-
devotion.
she's definitely
Like, she
devoted.
will beat
I think
you
crazy
down.
is the word you're looking for.
And there's also another 911 call, which was from a woman. She rang them and they're like, you know, what's your emergency? And she goes, oh, I can't hook up.
Oh, no.
And they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, can you send a really attractive
Police
police or
Wow.
fireman around? No,
Yeah.
this is a true story.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're sort of not a dating thing. And then she goes, oh, no, I just hurt my leg. Oh, I need an ambulance. Seriously.
That's so
Seriously,
funny.
it's
well,
funny
okay,
as.
if we're still speaking of funny 911 calls, I watched a whole TV show on this the other day, so
Yeah.
I'm
You got
loaded
it
with
there.
them.
You're with
Oh
it.
yeah, and but one of my favorite ones was a guy called up the cops and said, "Hi, there's been a shooting. We're at the basketball court here.
Yep.
I've been shot. I was hit with a 3-point shot." And then the police officer clued in and gone, "Hang on a second, the
That's funny as.
3-point shot. Yeah, he threw a 3-point shot and the basketball hit me in the head." And
Send
he's
help.
like, "Can I press charges? Can I press charges?" She's like, "No, you shouldn't be standing under the basketball ring." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, can you tell my friends then that it's a penalty and that I get a free shot?" Okay, so he put the policewoman on speaker so she could say he gets a free shot. Come
Oh
on,
my
guys.
God.
How old were these guys?
They were adults.
Yeah, pathetic adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we're going to a break pretty soon. Don't forget, special guests Baden Hammond and Dom will be on the show. Two of Melbourne's top magicians. They also run one of Melbourne's, well, in fact, not one of, but the top magic room in Melbourne. Stay
See,
by.
we're so used to comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Too
We keep
many,
saying it.
too many comedians
Yeah.
on the show.
We need
Top
more
Hat
magic
Tuesday?
rooms.
Is that what it's
That's
called? Top Hat-
it. Yeah,
That's the
you've
place.
heard
Top
of
Hat
it.
Tuesday.
You've heard of it.
Only from doing reading
Research.
reviews and research.
Research.
Yes.
Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
Okay. Well, there you go. Everyone's going to hear of it after today.
Absolutely.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back. It's the only show where things that go bump in the night actually get invited into the studio. And this is the first time I've said that, and it's actually got some relevance because we have two of Melbourne's top magicians on the show, guys who run Top Hat Tuesdays.
Wow.
Coming up after the next break, Baden Hammond and Don Chambers will be on the show. This is going to be awesome, so stand by for that. Speaking of the weird, the bizarre, the unusual, and the things of other worlds, it is time for our next horrible horoscope.
Okay, so Pisces. This week, all of your left socks will have suspicious holes in them. It's probably too hot to wear socks anyway. And Aries. This week, you will cut holes in everyone's socks. Now they will all appreciate your Christmas socks.
Oh, dear. Christmas socks.
Yeah, they're cool.
That's weird.
Does anyone else wear odd socks?
All the
Like,
time.
Do you just do you
No,
actually
to
match
me-
them
Not
up?
anymore.
No, to me they're not odd because I go by thickness, not colour.
Yeah.
Susie's like, uh-oh.
See, I don't even do that. If they can be two different thicknesses, two different colours,
Oh,
and
no,
I'll
I
still
couldn't
go.
wear. No,
When
couldn't do
I
that.
was younger, like
Yeah.
probably when I was like 8 or something, I used to
So a couple
max
of years
them
ago,
up.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give or take.
12.
I used to mash them up a bit just to think
Yeah.
I was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty down with it, pretty trendy.
Yeah, it's weird though that I still do it.
And you can actually, there's a brand of socks
Yeah.
called Odd Pairs.
Okay.
And pears
Really?
is the fruit.
Someone's
Where
actually gone and
they
made
make coordinated odd socks.
coordinated
Oh
So
my
odd
they'll be
socks.
they'll be like the same color scheme, but like maybe the inverse on the other sock,
Ah.
or stripes and dots, or
Oh, they're not really odd then, are
they're,
they?
no.
The true
they're
sense
not
of the word.
identical,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're kind of cool.
So do
Yeah.
you actually consciously, deliberately pick odd socks to
Yeah,
wear?
yeah, I will.
Okay.
No,
so
it's
if,
not
if
deliberate.
they're in a nice pair folded together in
Yeah.
your drawer, are you going to undo that pair
No,
just to get
no,
odd
then
socks?
I'll
Yeah.
then I'll take them.
In
Okay.
other words, it's laziness. it's just
Right.
grab, these will do.
Yeah,
That'll
and it's
do.
become such a habit that I just
Oh,
I
don't
know
worry
what-
about it.
All right,
Okay.
everyone, look at your socks. Who's
Mine
got
are
odd
matching.
socks on?
My socks actually.
that one, and
Okay, I'm wearing
Not
black.
wearing any.
I'm wearing black Converses, right?
Yeah.
And if I take off my shoes, Shane will see here, I'm still wearing black Converses. My socks match my shoes.
Holy
What?
cow!
My socks are made to look like shoes, and yeah. But speaking of odd socks, have
Yeah.
you ever noticed somebody wearing odd socks and told them and they didn't know? And the shock that they have sometimes,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's amazing. Simple
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah, yeah.
it
What-
shocks them.
What I want to know is where do the other socks go?
Oh,
They-
the dryer.
I reckon there's this interdimensional void
Yeah.
where there's lots of pens, socks,
Bobby
and,
pins.
and,
Oh, the
and
bobby
old
pins.
CDs,
And lighters.
and
Yes,
lighters, cigarette
lighters.
lighters, just
Yes.
floating aimlessly through space.
What do you reckon they're doing together?
It's a plot.
breeding a third type of sock.
Conspiracy
they're
theory.
probably
Yeah.
on another planet. Like they probably found a wormhole to another planet, and they're planning on like building spaceships and coming back here and taking over.
They're actually
Yeah.
That'll be the end of our
aliens.
world.
God, you've got an imagination.
Yeah, that's just weird. That's odd. Speaking of news, though.
Speaking of odd, Candace Emptage, Emptage, which is funny because in her memory is now quite empty, so it's funny how her last name actually suits her.
Yeah.
Anyway, in 2010, she was driving home
Mm-hmm.
and she had a car accident.
Okay.
And she woke up, she went into a coma
Mm-hmm.
for 6 weeks. And then when she woke up, she actually thought it was the early 1990s
Yeah.
and that she was 22 years old.
Oh my god,
She's
there's so
actually
many
now-
movies like this.
She's
Yeah.
actually 40 and she
Yeah.
has a 14-year-old daughter. But when she came out of the coma,
Yeah.
she didn't realize that she was 40. She thought she was 22, 24.
Right.
She didn't even know that she had a daughter. So that
Yeah.
was all pretty freaky. She couldn't recognize anyone. She had a boyfriend of 6 years, didn't even know who he was.
What?
She had to relearn how to walk and relearn see. Even
Everything.
when she looked at photos, she still didn't recognize her daughter.
Yeah.
But then she had a very quick memory of her daughter when she was about 2 years old. Family almost turned off the light support, except that then they saw her finger move a little bit.
Yep.
Which is
Really?
lucky, so
Okay.
they
That's
kept her
crazy.
alive. But here's the thing. So when she woke up in the 1990s, the Spice Girls were topping the charts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when they had their big number one, the first number one. And Charles and Di split.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Robbie Williams left Take That, causing bitter disappointment with fans. But a year later, Take That split. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
You remember the band Take That?
Yep.
Vaguely.
They had come on, you've got all their CDs. It was the fans were so distraught, and it was such an intense thing for all the Take That fans
Yeah.
that there was actually a helpline. that got put together
What?
because they needed help in coping with
Counselling.
the fact
Oh my
counselling that
gosh.
Take That had separated.
I never knew this.
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa.
know.
So does this mean if and when One Direction split,
When?
the
Maybe.
world's going to
When?
end?
Well, maybe.
Because-
Every
Maybe.
major group in history has split
Exactly.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But what's funny is that when she woke up, Take That were together. And
Right.
but then
So
Robbie
she
Williams.
would have needed the helpline and it wasn't there anymore. That's tragic.
But now they're back together now, and Robbie Williams has rejoined them. So she must be very confused.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
Very
just
confused.
this does, however, bring up one other point that I think is really important for me to point out now.
Yeah.
If I'm ever on life support,
Yeah.
do not wait for my finger to
To
wiggle
move.
or move.
Just turn it off?
No. If you turn off my life support, I will wake up and kill you.
yeah, okay.
Do not turn off
Well,
my life.
that's how I wake you up then.
I don't care what
Exactly.
I don't care what amount of life I've got. If
Yeah.
it's even the littlest bit,
Yep.
I'm still alive,
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Turned off.
All
I'd want
right.
it turned off. But the whole Take That thing, it takes me back to when Molly died on a country practice.
Yeah.
I was so upset. I wasn't allowed to watch TV for about 2 weeks because I couldn't stop crying.
Really?
What?
Yep.
How old were you?
I was only about 10.
Oh, right, okay.
That's fair enough.
But how? So you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like, has there ever been anyone like a group or a singer or I mean even what's his name, Robin Williams, who passed away?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that was
Yeah, that was
big,
You
but
know.
I didn't cry a river
I
over
didn't,
it.
I didn't cry or get upset about it. And I
I
remember
thought
when-
it's really disappointing that
Yeah.
somebody who I'd seen since a kid.
yeah.
But
had
we didn't
died.
need a helpline.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a bit shocked by Michael Jackson when that
Right.
happened.
See, even then,
Yeah.
though, I was a bit
But
like...
I didn't
saying-
But
cry.
they had a helpline for when Robin Williams died.
Did they?
Did they?
Yeah, they had a counselling service, and also for
But usually,
They must
whenever a lot of celebrities die now, they just tag on any helplines just in
Yeah.
case you need it.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's not
I remember-
specifically the Robin Williams helpline.
I remember when Elvis died.
Wow.
I remember that.
See, I don't remember
Gosh,
that.
you're old.
No.
Yeah, I was 16, 17 at the time.
Okay.
Wow.
But here's the thing: you talk
go
about
on.
synchronicity, right?
Yeah.
This all happened, and I can't remember the sequence of events, but I had bought my very, very first ever record because I'm not into music.
Yeah.
It was an Elvis record. 1 week later,
He's there.
he's dead.
Oh.
I thought, okay,
So
I
it's
went
your
out,
fault.
I bought a John Lennon album.
No.
You did
Yeah.
not.
1 week later, he's dead.
Oh my gosh.
What did you buy when Lady Di died?
I didn't buy.
He walked
anything.
under a tunnel at
Yeah.
some point.
No more music for you, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially do not buy any Smashing Pumpkins, any My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
No Kylie.
All
No
possible.
Johnny Depp movies.
Or I will turn off
No,
the live
nothing.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you've got it coming.
Okay.
I think the closest I came to getting upset by someone was a wrestler who died.
Oh,
That was it. That was the closest.
You're pathetic.
I
But
got
you're
more
gonna wonder
upset by
if
that.
I
you're-
know.
If you're upset by
When-
wrestlers.
No, 'cause it
when
was the-
Batman dies,
I was gonna say.
and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, then there's a real
What
problem.
if your TV had have died during the week while you were having your Batman-a-thon? Would you have needed a helpline?
I think so.
you need a helpline
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah.
No, it was more like the guy, the wrestler that I was talking about. The way he died was pretty full on.
Yeah,
He was
steroids. Steroids
undiagnosed.
injected into his brain.
Well, they reckon something like that because he had undiagnosed mental problems, and he went and he killed his wife and his kids and stuff, and then did
Jeez.
himself in, and it was huge.
Oh,
He was called
yeah.
the Wolverine. He was huge in wrestling, and he just went berserk.
You
like,
reminded me of another one, Phil Hartman, when he
Oh,
died.
I
Yeah.
remember him.
Yeah,
he
'cause
was
his
from
wife-
radio show or something, though, TV
He,
show.
he'd also did The Simpsons
Yeah.
and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
his wife shot him.
Yeah, what?
Wow.
The actor Troy McClure.
Troy McClure. You may
Troy
remember
McClure.
me.
Yeah, that was him. His
Such
wife
classics
killed
as-
him.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long ago?
Ages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be 10 years now, easy.
Yeah,
But
easy.
he was he was on Saturday Night Live and everything. He was
Yeah.
destined for. He would have been.
He was
up
already there.
Robin Williams. He was destined for
Yeah.
greatness,
Great,
and
yeah.
she shot him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again, as with all situations, if you have recently got married,
Yeah.
beware.
Beware.
Okay,
shoot your
speaking
spouse.
of which, pretty soon on the show, after this break, stay tuned, because we've got Baden Hammond and Dom Chambers from Top Hat Tuesdays on the show. They'll be interviewed by the beautiful Susie, and of course, me. This will be my first interview on the radio, which will be good because I've been trying to get these guys on the show for ages. This is my little coup.
I know. You're so excited.
I am a little
His
bit
Eyes
excited.
are sparkly.
He's hogging it to himself.
No, if
Like,
we
it's mine.
think about it, we've had
My
we've had-
precious.
in this section of the show. In the last section, we did nearly 200 interviews.
Yep.
In this section, we've done at least 30 interviews now.
Yeah.
Not one of them have been people I've
Oh,
brought on, and it's
no.
my show, people. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show, guys. We've got Baden Hammond and Dom Chambers on the show. Thanks for joining us, guys. It is an absolute honour to have the two of you here because you guys run the leading magic comedy and magic.
Comedy and magic.
Comedy and magic.
Bit of a
I'm
mix.
sure there's a few jokes there. The leading magic room in Australia at the moment, and that is truly awesome. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be
Pleasure
here.
to
Thanks
be
for having
here.
us.
Thank you.
Good, excellent. We knew it would be. So
We won't disappoint.
we have the very beautiful Susie who's going to ask you a few questions. During that process, I'm going to be cutting in all the time because there's some stuff I want to know.
Now I think we are all ready for the last of this series of of demonstrations, and so, ladies and gentlemen, here is Jan Canesta. Good evening.
No, I did not, unfortunately. The theatre was packed with thousands of people.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, didn't get to meet the man himself.
Dom.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I've been really lucky with my magic. I've been able to perform overseas, which has been great. I think Yeah, actually, this is interesting. Through working, I've actually worked some. I mean, it's a great. I'm a student, but it's my job. It's my source of income,
Yeah.
and it's what I do on weekends. And I perform wherever they want, like a magician, I suppose. And I perform from Christmas parties to cocktail parties to weddings, to wakes.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
No.
Like, I'm so sorry for your loss,
Ta-da!
Mr. Smith, but is this your card?
I'm going to make your card vanish, just like Grandpa did.
Oh, when you get your TV show, that skit has got to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, children's party clown at a wake.
Yeah,
A children's party clown with Tourette's at a wake. Yeah.
But that wasn't my favorite one. That was awkward as hell. But my favorite ever job I've done was a lady called me up and she said, "Hi, I'd like to book you for my daughter's birthday party." I said, "Yes, sure, I can do that." She said, "It's a 21st birthday party." I said, that's fine, I can do that. And I was 21 at the time. And she said, "I'll just let you know it's only girls at this party." And I said, "Okay, I can do that."
Yeah.
She says, "It's going to be 35, 21-year-old girls." I said, "I can do that." So I turn up to this event, and it was like I was like a surprise. I was behind this curtain. They were going to pull this curtain down, and I was a surprise act. I was going to do,
And they're going, male stripper!
That's actually what happened. The curtain dropped down. They go, "Take it off," and I said, "No." I said, "Pick a card." But the twist was, it was actually it was a pajama party. So, Merry Christmas to
that.
21-year-old me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool.
Magic Mike just got a new
Exactly.
definition, didn't it?
But I heard it's not the length of the wand, but the magic in the stick anyway. So
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You're listening to The Elegant Universe. We'll be back with more of our special guests after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, in introducing my original invention, the water torture cell, although there is nothing supernatural about it, I am willing to forfeit the sum of $1,000 to anyone who can prove that it is possible to obtain air inside of the torture cell when I'm locked up in it in the regulation manner after it has been filled with water. Should anything go wrong when I'm locked up, one of my assistants walks to the curtain, ready to rush in, demolishing the glass, allowing the water to flow out in order to save my life. Harry Houdini, October the 29th, 1914, Flatbush, New York.
No, of course it's been.
It's good fun.
Item that week. It's got what used to be on for sale, but there was also other. And in other, you can be taught scams, bets, and cheating.
Yeah.
What is this? And can I learn?
Dom's like, I didn't know this.
Dom found out a dark secret. No, that's just look, they're scams for entertainment. You can learn how to win bar bets that bar bets you can't lose. So when you're down,
Right.
down having a few drinks
Yeah,
with the guys.
you'd be surprised
That's
how many
cool.
people have gotten into magic through scams and master the art of pickpocketing and,
That's
and
right.
the psychological ploy and all that sort of stuff. It's actually a very popular type of magic. What's a guy on YouTube does scams? Have you come across him?
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
Brian
what you're talking
Brushwood.
about.
Brian Brushwood does
Yep.
a really good job of that type of thing. It's all good fun, and it's really good. So what else did you discover, Susie?
What else did I discover? Oh, just that you've got puzzles and juggling. So what do you two focus on and major in? Like, is yours mentalism or magic? Or
Yeah, I love the mentalism. Like Shane here, it's all that psychological stuff that really gets inside people's heads.
Yeah.
That's where I think the fun is, when you can get inside someone's head and cause effectively a nuclear meltdown in their brain.
Yeah.
That's the moment I want to create.
Yeah.
What about you, Dom?
For me, I like to consider myself a bit of a modern magician.
Okay.
I like to see myself.
demon.
What's that?
A demon.
Yeah, pretty much. I like to. I like to see my magic style is like like Dynamo, but I like to think
Yeah.
that I have a personality.
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry, was that-
Oh, right, okay. So
Sorry,
the old
sorry,
Blaine,
sorry.
like...
That's what I'm going for. Dynamo with personality.
For you, is the difference between mentalism and magic? Is there a difference?
I think there is a difference, definitely. Mentalism is really that psychological realm of magic where it is in the realm. It is for entertainment, mind-blowing and all that sort of thing. For me, it's about less about props and objects and visual things and more about let's take a journey inside your head and see what we can do with your behaviours and your choices. And
Can you do anything to me on air today?
Oh, gee, I don't know. I'd be
Not on air.
That
She's never asked me
I don't
that.
know
I've
who's
been
listening. I
waiting.
could be arrested.
I've been waiting to
Sorry,
ask. Will you
Shane.
do
Chair.
anything to me? But no.
I get scared to ask you. I feel comfortable here. No.
Luckily, it's only a radio show. No one can actually see what's going on.
We already talked about that, and there will be no mentalism or magic on the show
Dang.
today.
What the listeners can't see is I'm actually floating a pair of sunglasses right now. It looks amazing. Just because
Doesn't it just?
it looks so
Doesn't
good.
it?
They wish
Yeah.
they could
Wondering
see
what was
it.
going on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I tell you what, after the break, I would love to find out your inspirations that led you into this path from both of you and find out a little bit more about each of you. You'd like to stick around?
Absolutely.
We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
With the spotlight of the public on Houdini, with the whole world paused to see or hear Houdini step on this side of the curtain. Now let us bow our heads in meditation and prayer. O thou mastermind of the universe, please let the spirit of understanding descend upon us that are gathered here in the inner circle tonight. We are each and
Excellent. So the links will be up later on before the night's out. And if you're a magician or a punter who'd like to see some really decent magic, hook up to that. Okay, I've been performing professionally for at least 20 years now. I was, before that, for at least 20 years before that, I was trying to perform whenever and wherever I could. And I had to learn the hard way. There were no Banacheks, there was no Darren Brown. And doing mentalism, most people I went to said, "You're doing what?"
Yeah.
And back then, and I'm talking the late 70s, mid 80s, there was no reference point to go on. You virtually had to teach yourself. And I trolled through libraries and books and tried to find as much information as I could to perform what I loved to perform. Things are a little bit different now. There's a lot of reference material and things you go to. But the one thing that I think we're lacking is advice from magicians who've been doing it and who know what they're doing. So my question to you is, firstly, Baden, a young magician comes up and he goes, "I want to perform. What's the secret? How do I really, truly do magic?" I mean, I can make a coin disappear. I can pull a rabbit out of a hat. But what's the real secret to magic? What advice would you give to new magicians?
To be honest, it's practice.
Yeah.
It's get hold of that resource material, and books are fine. Books
Yep.
worked in the 50s.
Well, they've got
Before
YouTube
that.
now. You can watch.
You can go onto
everything.
YouTube,
Yeah.
but you know what? I
wouldn't
still
advise it.
love the old books that have the pictures and they
Yep.
make you read it as an art form that it is.
Cool.
And just practice.
The old Professor Hoffman.
That's it.
I had an old weather-bound copy of Professor Hoffman's book. It was like my little Bible.
They're
What about-
timeless.
Yeah, what about originality? What would you say? Because no offence to anyone out there, but I remember in 1 week I saw the Cups and Balls performed exactly the same way with the same gags. Now, in comedy, that would get you no gigs. You'd
Absolutely,
be totally
yeah.
thing. But in magic, it's a little bit different.
It's an
Why is
interesting-
that?
Yeah.
I think it's like it's a really good point, and it's not something I'm particularly a big fan of myself. I don't like seeing the same thing
Yeah.
with the same lines. As like you said, comedy, that wouldn't be a respected performance if
Yeah.
you went on stage and you delivered the same jokes that a performer last week did.
Yeah.
Magic is almost like a lot of magicians are like cover artists.
Right.
They cover.
Yeah.
They do cover songs basically, but in magic.
Do the classics.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I say that magicians not all magicians do
Yeah,
that. A lot of
obviously,
magicians
yeah.
do that because
Yeah.
you're used to seeing those classics, and that it is an art form where we do share what we do and we do pass on what we do. But I do think it is important to put your own spin on what you're doing. So you mentioned the Cups and Balls, which is a
Right.
classic, and
Yeah.
it's been done to the hills and back. But I think if it's done there's some incredible performances of the cups and balls. If you want to look up Tim Ellis does Run Around Sue. He does cups and balls, but he does it with milkshake cups.
Yep.
And at the end, he's got milk pouring out of the cups and things like that. So I think it is important to be original and put your own spin on what's already there. Otherwise, you really are. You're just covering other people's work.
Baden, your thoughts on originality in mentalism?
Yeah, I think Dom captured it really well. It's about bringing your own character to whatever you're performing. When you go up there, even if you're doing the same trick that someone else has already done, no one's seen you do it before. You're your own character, you're your own individual, and you can bring your own flair to the stage. And so much it's less about the trick and more about the performance itself. I'd say the trick itself is only 20%, 80% is the
you,
performer.
Your personality
Absolutely.
on stage. Yeah, I fully agree.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, if you look at the people who've made it, the big magicians, the Penn and Tellers, the David Copperfield, Lance Burton, they're performing unique original magic, which is their own thing. That's why they've made it. That's why they're successful. I think that's what magicians have to strive towards.
So even though the trapdoor might be in exactly the same place as the last guy did it, it's how you misdirect away from the trapdoor.
And we can't be giving away their secrets on air.
I think most people look for the trapdoor first. That's why I said it. Because we know it's not actually a trapdoor.
Ooh, more secrets.
Yeah. Horoscopes.
This is a bit of magic of my own, maybe?
Yeah.
That's the best I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cancer. This week, a stranger will say your clothes clash. You'll be diagnosed as colorblind. Leo. Dom, is this you?
That's me.
Okay, so Leo, this week you will be diagnosed as colorblind. You will convince the smelly guy at the bus stop that he is colorblind as a revenge.
I cannot wait.
You're listening to The Elegant Universe. We'll be back after this. Stand by.
It's the spirit of Houdini we wish to contact. Houdini, are you here? Are you here, Houdini? Please manifest yourself in any way possible. Take from this earnest gathering any strength that may be necessary for you to use. Take any vital thing from us that you may need to enable you to carry out your promise of years ago. We have waited, Houdini, oh, so long. Never have you been able to present the evidence you promised. And now, this is a night of nights.
Welcome back to the only show that walks up to the unexplained, pokes it with a big stick, flips it over to find out what's really going on. It's The Elegant Universe. We've got horoscopes.
We do. Okay, so Virgo. This week you'll get a hair elastic stuck in your hair. You'll be mostly bald by the time you get it out. And Scorpio. Scorpio, this week you'll cut your thumb on an A1 size piece of paper. You will nearly bleed to death.
So we're here with our very special guest, my special guest for a change, Baden Hammond, magician, mentalist, an all-round good guy.
And a bit crazy.
Well, you have to be, I guess.
I think you've got to be in today's world.
Yeah, and especially doing what you do, running Top Hat Tuesdays and performing magic. Do you personally yourself, do you do like corporate shows or as well?
I do when I can, absolutely. Yeah. They're a lot of fun, actually. I love the walk-around gigs at the corporate ones where you go table to table and just give people a little bit of a mini magic show.
Yeah. When you're doing that, is it magic or is it mentalism?
It's a bit of both.
A bit of both?
Yeah, I like to do a bit of both, mix it up, and the mentalism gets a little bit harder as people get drunker.
James
dealt with that. Switch to the not so heavy mind stuff. When
don't look in the box. Oh, it's the box. Yeah. Well, talk to us, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I am.
Well, while you guys are like drifting off into space,
Yes.
while we're talking about things that are a little bit crazy, I have a story about a mum who loves her dog more than her son.
What?
Yeah.
How? How does
this
this
is
work?
heartbreaking. Okay, so Callie Rose
Yeah.
admits to loving her 4-year-old West Highland White Terrier named Matilda more than her 11-year-old son William.
Oh, dear.
And a series of photos have come out of family portraits
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the
you're
mum,
kidding.
the
She's
son
even-
William, and the terrier, and she's always affectionately holding the terrier while William is on the side looking
Being poked with a stick.
utterly depressed.
Well, we got
And
the origin story of the Joker now, so
Yeah,
that's how it
exactly.
worked.
Yeah.
But she tries to justify it as well. She's had whole like media interviews and stuff, and
Yeah.
so she says that her son is messy and never gives thanks and always has to be told to do his homework.
And Fifi only poos in the lounge occasionally.
Yeah,
Oh.
but Matilda Hilda is always obedient and affectionate, and she loves the wet doggy kisses.
Yeah, but she's not going to choose your retirement home, so
Yeah.
you really backed the wrong horse on that one.
But the funny thing is that this is related to a study that's happened recently.
Okay.
Where mums were shown photos of
Mm.
a whole range of things, including their pets and their children.
Okay.
And their cognitive responses were measured, and they reacted more positively to photos of their pets than to their own children.
Well, this explains a lot.
That would be, because kids can get on your bad side every now and then, and dogs don't really. Like, what does a dog do?
Stay
Dog doesn't
outside.
slap its sister around and then blame
Yeah.
somebody else for it,
Mate,
does
true.
it?
It might pee
True.
on your stuff, though. If your son pees on your stuff, you've got a problem. But dogs pee on your
Yeah.
stuff all the time. And they
Well, not
smell.
my dog.
Baden, you an only child, or you got brothers and sisters?
No, I've got a sibling, and we also had animals growing up. But
Right.
I tell you what, we were never in a situation where we felt loved less. We were never put in
Yeah.
a kennel outside or tied to the tree or anything. So no, I have to say,
I know families where I wish that had happened
Mm.
to the kids and not the animals.
Yeah.
I think it's just like an anchoring of negative emotion from the kids, because, if you raise a kid that's not going to listen to you, of course you're not going to like the kid.
Yeah.
But you sort of raise the kids, so...
Yeah, it probably says something about her parenting.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. That's exactly what I thought when, I love my dog. My dog's so obedient. It's a dog. How hard is it to train a dog? Not very hard. But how hard is it to train a kid? You got to be on them. You sort of got to give them love and affection,
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
And she also tries to justify it.
Yeah,
saying,
which
like,
is even worse.
Yeah,
You're just
but
digging
then
your own hole.
Another one of
there.
her justifications is that a dog's lifespan is a lot less
Yeah.
than your child's. But then
Yeah.
you're basically saying, oh yeah, I don't care about the first 12 years of my
Exactly.
child's life because my
Oh,
dog's not going to be around.
There'll always
Exactly.
be another Matilda, but
Exactly.
only one son.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the son's going to remember that.
Oh, I've just thought of another question.
Go on.
Baden, favourite effect?
Favourite effect.
Favourite effect?
That'd be a tough one. I have to say it would probably just be anything where you get to go inside someoed's head and reveal personal information.
Like
Do
that
it.
they like their dogs more than their children?
Yeah, like,
Yeah, stuff like that,
absolutely. Like,
yeah.
I think you might have some sort of complex Oedipus Rex syndrome going on inside there. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. Are you a bad mother? Oh, he knows me so well. Good. Okay, horoscopes.
Okay, so Sagittarius. This week you will bum dial your mum while hanging out with your friends. She hears everything.
Oh, no.
And Capricorn, this week you will finally finish typewriting your novel. Then you will knock your candle on it and burn the whole thing. Serves you right, you pretentious hipster.
Nah.
You're listening to The Elegant Universe. One song. We'll be back to say goodbye. Stay tuned. Back, you've survived another edition of The Elegant Universe. We've had on the show a very special guest, Baden Hammond, magician, entrepreneur, running Top Hat Tuesdays. Tell us again, where is Top Hats and how do we get there?
Well, it's on the first Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
And if you want to come along to a show, you can visit the website, tophattuesdays.com.
Yep.
Find
Cool.
us on Facebook.
Now, why the first Tuesday of every month? Is that a magical Freemason thing?
Well, yeah, I think it's just because everybody hates Mondays.
Right, okay. And
Yeah.
Wednesdays, that's the middle of the week.
Wednesday, exactly. That's
Yeah.
midweek, cook a dinner and whatever. And then Thursday, Friday, people are out having a good time. So
What does the future
Tuesday
hold?
was left.
What does the future hold for Top Hat Tuesdays? Are we going to see big international acts? Is it going to become a TV show? Is it what's the future?
Absolutely, just more acts, big
Cool.
names. We're trying to get our name out there. If magicians are visiting Melbourne, we want to know about them and we want to
Cool.
put them on.
Cool,
Excellent.
cool.
So if you hear anything in the grapevine, let us know. And then we'll let them know. It keeps the loop happening.
That's how a grapevine works.
Yes. And also, once again, the beautiful Hayley.
See you guys.
You
Have a
know-
nice weekend.
You know
Yes.
who we missed?
Who?
Frankie.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't have our conspiracy theory, and my heart is
Yep.
sad that we missed him
For a whole
today.
week, I've got to think.
Yeah.
What would he have said?
Maybe his mind's eye got infected and that's why he's not here tonight.
Ah.
No, he reckons it was gastro, but you could be right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the man with the brain wasn't here this week. We miss him, but he will, I am told, be back next week with another
Cool.
conspiracy theory. So stay tuned for that. And apparently we have other guests
Yeah.
on the show as well. Tommy Bissett was coming up,
Yeah.
and I'm looking to get more magicians. I want Tim Ellis on the show. A bunch of other
Absolutely.
people will be. Can you make any suggestions? Who should I have on this show? What magicians should I be
I
looking
reckon you need to have Kath Jamison come on.
Definitely, yep.
Absolutely premier magician in Melbourne.
Yep.
and Duck Cameron would be my other favourite.
Duck, yep, cool. So now that you've heard your name on the show, guys, probably best that you come on the show. So once again, Baden, thanks very much for joining us. It's
Thank
been
you
an
so much for having
absolute
us.
pleasure. We will get back to you. And of course, Peter,
Yep, thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
on behalf of myself and the crew and our guest listener, I'll ask you to do two things. Be safe and dream great dreams.
Catch.
That wraps up another life-changing edition of The Elegant Universe.
Thanks for being part of the action. We love you.
Wherever you go in this great, big, wide, wonderful world of ours, don't forget to tune in next time.
Catch.